What happens if you girdle your lemon tree branch? It sounds like a violent act, doesn't it? Cutting into the very skin of your tree feels counterintuitive, almost dangerous. But what if I told you that this specific controlled injury is the secret weapon professional citrus growers use to force massive sweet fruit production? Most home gardeners are terrified of damaging their trees, so they let nature take its course, resulting in small, sour lemons and weak growth. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to perform this technique safely, why it works on a biological level, and how to avoid the one mistake that could kill your branch entirely. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know how to turn your lemon tree into a productivity machine. Before we dive into the science and the steps, do me a quick favor. If you want to grow bigger, juicier, and more abundant harvests from your garden without relying on expensive chemical fertilizers, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We are building a community of smart, practical growers here, and I don't want you to miss the next tip that could save your crop. Your support helps us keep these deep dive guides coming, so thank you for being part of the journey. Now, let's get into the mechanics of what actually happens when we interrupt the flow of your lemon tree. To understand why girdling works, we first have to understand the liquid, or more accurately, the vital sap that flows through your tree. When we talk about girdling, we aren't pouring an external liquid into the tree. We are manipulating the internal liquid transport system that already exists. Think of your tree as a complex plumbing system with two main pipes running just under the bark. The first is the xylem, which acts like a straw, pulling water and dissolved minerals up from the roots to the leaves. The second, and the one we are targeting today, is the phloem. The phloem is the delivery truck of the tree. It carries the sugars, carbohydrates, and energy produced by the leaves during photosynthesis down toward the roots and the rest of the plant for storage and growth. When you make a precise cut around the branch, removing a thin ring of bark, you are severing the phloem tubes while leaving the deeper xylem tubes intact. This is crucial. The xylem is located deeper in the wood, so water can still travel up to the leaves above the cut. The leaves stay hydrated and green. However, the phloem is right near the surface in the inner bark. By removing that ring, you create a roadblock. The sugars produced by the leaves above the cut can no longer flow down to the roots. They hit the barrier and accumulate. This accumulation is where the magic happens chemically and biologically. The area above the girdle becomes a sink of high-energy resources. The concentration of auxins, which are plant hormones responsible for growth and development, also increases in this zone. Normally, these hormones and sugars would be distributed throughout the entire tree, diluting their effect. But when trapped above the cut, they create a localized state of high metabolic activity. The cells in that branch sense an abundance of energy and signal the tree to prioritize reproductive growth, meaning flowers and fruit over vegetative growth, like new leaves or root expansion. Essentially, you are tricking the branch into thinking, I have all this extra energy right here, and I can't send it anywhere else, so I better use it to make babies, which, in plant terms, means making fruit. This isn't just folklore, it's a well-documented physiological response known as source sink manipulation. The liquid we are managing is the sugar-rich sap, and by controlling its traffic, we control the tree's priorities. Now let's connect this internal traffic jam to what your lemon tree actually needs to thrive. Lemon trees, like all citrus, are heavy feeders. They have specific nutritional demands that dictate whether you get a handful of mediocre fruits or a bumper crop of high-quality lemons. The primary macronutrients they crave are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, often referred to as NPK. Nitrogen is essential for lush, green, leafy growth. Phosphorus is critical for root development and, importantly, for flower and fruit set. Potassium regulates water usage, enzyme activation, and overall fruit quality, including sweetness and size. However, nutrients alone aren't enough. The tree needs the energy to process these nutrients and convert them into fruit. That energy comes from carbon, fixed from the air via photosynthesis in the leaves. This is where the connection between girdling and nutrient needs becomes obvious. You can fertilize your lemon tree with the best organic compost or synthetic fertilizer in the world, providing ample nitrogen and potassium. But if the tree is in a vigorous vegetative state, it will use those nutrients to grow more branches and leaves, not necessarily more fruit. The tree's natural instinct is survival and expansion, not necessarily maximizing fruit yield for your kitchen. By girdling, you are not adding new nutrients from the outside. You are optimizing the distribution of the internal resources the tree has already gathered. The branch above the girdle has access to water and minerals from the roots via the xylem, so it doesn't starve. But it also has a surplus of carbohydrates, sugars, because the downward flow is blocked. This surplus signals the tree to shift its focus. Instead of using energy to grow new shoots, the branch directs that energy into the developing fruits. The fruits become the primary sink for all that trapped sugar. This results in larger fruit size because the cells have more fuel to expand. It also improves the Brix level, or sweetness, of the lemon because there is a higher concentration of sugars available during the ripening phase. Furthermore, lemon trees often suffer from what growers call fruit drop. This is when the tree naturally aborts young fruit because it doesn't have enough resources to support them all. By concentrating the resources on a specific branch, girdling reduces the likelihood of fruit drop on that branch. The tree perceives that it has ample resources locally, so it commits to maturing the fruit rather than shedding it. It's a way of aligning the tree's biological priorities with your gardening goals. You are essentially forcing the tree to honor its commitment to the fruit by removing its escape route for excess energy. This makes girdling particularly effective for mature trees that are healthy but stubborn about producing large crops, or for specific varieties that tend to alternate bearing, producing a huge crop one year and nothing the next. Girdling helps stabilize that production. However, we must address the elephant in the room. This technique is powerful, but it is not without significant risk. The benefits are real: larger fruit, higher yields, and better quality. But the line between a productive tree and a dead branch is razor thin. If you perform this incorrectly, you can cause irreversible damage. The most common and devastating mistake is cutting too deeply. Remember, we only want to remove the bark and the phloem. If you cut into the xylem, the white wood underneath, you disrupt the water supply. If the water supply is cut, the leaves above the girdle will wilt and die within days, and the branch will eventually perish. There is no coming back from a severed xylem. Another major risk is infection. An open wound on a tree is an invitation for pests and diseases. Citrus trees are susceptible to fungal infections and bacterial issues. If you leave the wound exposed to rain, dirt, or insects without proper care, pathogens can enter the cambium layer and rot the branch from the inside out. Additionally, timing is everything. If you girdle a tree that is already stressed, perhaps from drought, extreme heat, or nutrient deficiency, you are adding insult to injury. A stressed tree does not have the reserves to handle the shock of girdling, and it may respond by dropping all its fruit and leaves or even dying back significantly. There is also the risk of over-girdling. If you girdle too many branches at once, or if you girdle the main trunk instead of a secondary branch, you can severely compromise the root system. The roots rely on the sugars coming down from the leaves for their own energy. If you block too much of this flow, the roots starve. Starving roots cannot absorb water or nutrients efficiently, leading to a decline in the overall health of the tree. In severe cases, this can kill the entire tree. Therefore, this technique should never be used on young, immature trees. It is strictly for established, healthy, mature trees that have a robust root system capable of handling the temporary reduction in energy flow. It is a surgical procedure, not a casual pruning task. Treat it with the respect and precision it demands. If you decide to proceed, here is the exact step-by-step method to apply this technique safely. You will need a few simple tools: a sharp, clean knife or a specialized girdling tool, rubbing alcohol for sterilization, and optionally, some grafting wax or tree sealant. Step 1. Select the right branch. Choose a healthy, vigorous branch that is at least 1 inch in diameter. Avoid weak, spindly branches or the main trunk. The branch should already have some small fruit set on it, ideally when the fruit is about the size of a marble. This ensures the tree has already committed to fruit production on that limb. Step 2. Sterilize your tool. Wipe your knife or girdling tool with rubbing alcohol. This is non-negotiable. You want to prevent introducing any bacteria or fungi into the fresh wound. Step 3. Make the cuts. About 6 to 12 inches from the base of the branch, make 2 parallel cuts around the circumference of the branch. The distance between these 2 cuts should be about 1/4 to 1/2 inch wide, depending on the thickness of the bark. For a lemon tree, a 1/4 inch width is usually sufficient. Ensure the cuts go through the bark, but do not dig into the white wood beneath. You should see the greenish-white inner bark, but the hard wood should remain untouched. Step 4. Remove the bark ring. Carefully peel away the strip of bark between the two cuts. Use the tip of your knife to gently lift it and pull it off. Make sure you remove the entire ring. Even a tiny bridge of uncut bark can allow the phloem to heal across and bypass the girdle, rendering the effort useless. Check carefully to ensure the channel is completely clear. Step 5. Clean and seal. Wipe the exposed area gently to remove any loose debris. While some growers leave it open to heal naturally, applying a thin layer of grafting wax or tree sealant can help prevent moisture loss and protect against infection. Do not use paint or non-breathable substances. The goal is to protect the wound while allowing the tree to form callus tissue over time. Step 6. Monitor. Keep an eye on the branch over the next few weeks. The leaves should remain green and turgid. If they start to yellow or wilt, you may have cut too deep or the tree is under stress. Timing is just as critical as the technique itself. There are specific windows when you should absolutely not use this method. Never girdle during the dormant season in winter. The tree is not actively growing, and the wound will not heal properly, leaving it vulnerable to cold damage and disease. Also, avoid girdling during periods of extreme heat or drought. If the tree is struggling for water, reducing its energy flow to the roots will exacerbate the stress. Do not girdle newly planted trees or trees that are less than 3 to 4 years old. Their root systems are not established enough to handle the disruption. Furthermore, avoid girdling if the tree is currently suffering from a pest infestation or disease, such as citrus canker or aphids. Deal with the health issue first. The ideal time to girdle a lemon tree is during the early fruit set stage. This is typically in late spring or early summer, depending on your climate. You want to do it when the young fruits are small, about the size of a pea or a marble. At this stage, the tree is deciding which fruits to keep and which to drop. By girdling now, you influence that decision in favor of keeping the fruit. Another acceptable window is just before the major flowering flush, though this is riskier as it can sometimes reduce the number of flowers if done too aggressively. For most home growers, the post-flowering early fruit set window is the safest and most effective. As for frequency, this is not a routine maintenance task. You should not girdle the same branch every year. Ideally, rotate the branches you girdle. If you girdle a specific branch this year, let it rest for at least 2 to 3 years before considering it again. This allows the branch and the root system to fully recover and rebuild their energy reserves. Overgirdling the same area can lead to permanent weakness or death of that limb. Treat it as a strategic intervention, not an annual habit. So, what can you expect to see after you've performed this procedure? Patience is key here. You won't see dramatic changes overnight. In the first week, you might notice nothing different, which is a good sign. It means the xylem is intact and water is flowing. By the second and third week, you may observe that the leaves above the girdle appear slightly darker green and perhaps a bit thicker. This is due to the accumulation of carbohydrates and nutrients in that zone. The most noticeable results will come during the fruit development phase, which takes several months. As the lemons grow, you will likely notice that the fruits on the girdled branch are larger and more uniform in size compared to those on non-girdled branches. The skin may appear smoother and more vibrant. When you finally harvest, usually in late autumn or winter for many lemon varieties, you will find that the fruit has a higher juice content and a better balance of acidity and sweetness. The texture of the pulp is often finer. However, be aware that the branch itself may show signs of stress. The wood below the girdle might swell slightly as the tree attempts to heal the wound and reconnect the phloem. This callousing is normal. In some cases, the branch may produce fewer new leaves in the following season as it recovers. This is a trade-off. You are borrowing energy from future vegetative growth to pay for current fruit production. As long as the tree remains overall healthy, this is an acceptable exchange. If you see excessive leaf drop or dieback beyond the girdled area, you have pushed the tree too hard, and you should cease this practice immediately. In conclusion, girdling your lemon tree branch is a powerful professional-grade technique that can significantly boost your harvest quality and quantity. It works by manipulating the tree's internal sugar transport system, forcing energy into fruit production rather than root or leaf growth. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. It requires precision, proper timing, and a healthy tree to begin with. If you are unsure, start with just one small branch on a vigorous tree and observe the results. Don't gamble your entire orchard on a first attempt. Gardening is as much about understanding the biology of your plants as it is about digging in the dirt. By learning these deeper mechanisms, you move from being a passive observer to an active manager of your garden's ecosystem. If you found this guide helpful and want to master more advanced techniques for growing citrus and other fruits, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We have plenty more deep dives coming up on pruning, soil health, and pest management that will take your gardening skills to the next level. Drop a comment below if you've ever tried girdling or if you have questions about your specific lemon variety. I read every comment and love hearing from you. Thanks for watching, stay curious, and happy growing.